the WrestleMania Minutes on Down the Aisle Wrestling Podcast with Robbie Mack and Kevin Laramie. Here's Kevin Laramie. WrestleMania 12, Rob. One of my first memory. We talked a couple of shows ago. WrestleMania 10 was your first memory. We talked.
WrestleMania 6 was my first memory.
True, but for me, when I was younger, the memory that stands out as the first one, maybe not the first one, but the one that is clearer in my mind is seeing the Body Donnas and Sunny in the free for all. And guess what? It's in that one.
Yeah, this is when I think Sunny was with the Body Donnas, right?
With Chris Candido, yep.
Yeah, like when she was, because she was also like doing the gimmick where she would pretend like she was in love with Phineas and stuff like that. So this is kind of your introduction into WrestleMania.
Exactly, but most of all, it's the Iron Man match, a main event, a pay-per-view that, to be honest, it starts really quickly. Well, you have to with the match that lasts like an hour as your main event. Yeah. You have to quickly dive into it, but I have to say that main event, rewatching it for that review, wow. Even though the first half an hour, you know nothing's going to go on, they really did a good job putting that match together, those two.
Yeah, I've heard some people talk about how this match doesn't hold up, but I couldn't disagree more. These guys paced themselves perfectly and just, they had to go an hour, you know what I mean? And Brett and Sean, they weren't the best of friends at this time, and for them to go out put up that caliber match for 1 hour is really a testament to both of these guys.
A lot of things happened during that pay-per-view, ramifications after and before. You can say it's the first WrestleMania in history. You can say there is a pre and a post WrestleMania 12. Example, Ultimate Warrior and Triple H. It's the beginning where Ultimate Warrior doesn't want Triple H to have nothing. It's a squash match. Ultimate Warrior goes over. And after Helmsley, Triple H, the game, said over the years that it was one of his worst matches. He did change his tune after, when he got with Warrior inducted and all that. Well, before he used to say it was the most unprofessional experience he had in wrestling was working with the Warrior. So a lot of drama in that pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I have a memory of that match, Kevin. I was in grade 8 of the time of this pay-per-view. And there was this girl that I really, really, really liked, for the whole year. And she knew it. And we were over at a friend's house watching this pay-per-view. And I can't remember if she called there or I called her or whatever. But she said she wanted to meet up with me for a little bit. And I'm like, holy fuck, what do I do? And I'm looking at my friends. And I'm like, oh my God, do I go? And they're like, yeah, just go. You're probably not going to miss anything next. And then Hunter's music started. And then I'm like, fuck. So I left the house, Kevin. I ran down, and she lived probably about a 10, 15-minute walk from where I was watching the pay-per-view. And I met up with her, and I can honestly say that nothing happened. So live, I missed the Warrior-Helmsley match. I missed the Taker and Diesel match. But I made it back just in time for the Iron Man match to start. So WrestleMania 12 also has that kind of a side memory for me. You know what I mean? And it's the last time, Kevin, that a girl has ever gotten in the way of me watching a professional wrestling event or match. Learn my lesson.
You spoke about The Undertaker versus Diesel. The Undertaker with Phantom of Opera style mask.
Yep.
He was banged up in that WrestleMania 12. Heard about broken orbital bones, broken ribs. Mm-hmm. He was banged up, but The Undertaker being The Undertaker, he still showed up when it was time for the show.
Yeah, well, that's what The Undertaker does. And this was Diesel's last WrestleMania. He would depart for him and Scott Hall would both depart for WCW a short time after. I think they did one more pay-per-view, and that was it for them.
A couple of weeks after WrestleMania 12 is when the infamous moment happened in the showers between Diesel and Razor. Diesel looking at Razor saying, I'm in.
And then the course of wrestling professionalism history, I don't know even though that's the phrase, I meant to say the course of professional wrestling history was changed forever.
For the good or for the worst, you should say with hindsight, because who knows what things would have been, right?
Well, I mean, you have to say for the best, because we did get the Attitude Era out of it.
For the short term, yes, for the best.
For the long term, who knows? Like, Kevin, to be honest with you, would there have been a? I'm sure there would be a WWE no matter what. But if they didn't have that Monday Night War, do you really think we would have seen that Attitude Era that we obviously wouldn't have seen? What kind of like product there would be today? So
No. And
yeah,
to be honest, there was a feeling in society in that time, and the wrestling attitude era was a catalyst for that feeling in society. If it
yeah,
would not have been for wrestling, that feeling would have been fulfilled by something else in society, being a different type of movie, a different type of sports coming on, the punk music, the grunge. It's all that same time period.
yeah.
So it would have been something else that would have gathered and be the catalyst for that energy for the fans. But because of the Attitude Era, for millions and millions of wrestling fans, about 20 millions of Monday nights almost, were gathered and were glued in front of their television because of that fact.
Yeah. And speaking of the Attitude Era, this, Kevin, is also the WrestleMania debut of one Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right. Yes, it is. Stone Cold being Stone Cold for the first time after being the ringmaster. He's
Yeah,
still with Ted DiBiase, but he's still Stone Cold now.
well, Ted DiBiase still wouldn't be around much longer because Ted DiBiase would also depart for WCW a brief period of time after that. So you got Ted DiBiase, you got Scott Hall and Kevin Nash all shortly after this event departing for WCW. So this is kind of the start of WCW plucking talent from WWF, besides Hogan and like Savage. But when they really start to like match each other talent wise, trying to pick up each other's talent.
Before we go into our favorite matches of this pay-per-view, we'll do our now famous date in attendance. It was March 31st, 1996 at the Arrowhead Pond Arena, an arena built a couple years earlier for a famous hockey team, the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, most famous by being played with Joshua Jackson in a movie, and that movie to this day is just awesome.
The first one, yes. The second one is all right, and the third one is a pile of garbage. Kind of like The Godfather. The first one's great. The second one is the second one, Godfather, is more than great, but the third one is a. Kevin, just quick, has there ever been a third good movie in a trilogy besides Star Wars?
Die Hard.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. That was a good one with Jeremy Irons.
Simon says the attendance at Arrowhead Pond was 18,853. Pretty much probably a little under that, but you all know the WWE, how they build those things. It was sponsored by Tyco, RC controlled maximum heat. Remember when radio RC controlled cars were the big thing?
I think for me personally, I think that was a little because, like I said, I was in grade 8 at this time, so 96, I would have been 13. I think I just missed the boat on remote control cars. I don't think I ever had a remote control car. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I remember going outside and seeing all the kids on my street just darting up the street with these things and stuff.
Remember when you used to go outside and see kids outside?
Playing and just not people looking down at a phone or some sort of other device? Yep.
All right. What was your favorite match of that pay-per-view?
Well, Kevin, I think without a doubt it's the Iron Man match. You have one of the most iconic matches in WrestleMania history. Maybe even in the top 5, top 10 for sure, but maybe even in the top 5. And I think at the end of this journey, Kevin, maybe you and I should give our top 5 WrestleMania matches of all time, because our final one is on the eve of WrestleMania 31 or WrestleMania Play Sign as a. But yeah, I mean, just for all the reasons that I stated, these guys had to go an hour. They weren't best of friends, and they really put together a great match.
I went a different way because another iconic match that happened throughout that pay-per-view.
Oh no,
was a Hollywood backlot.
Yeah, that was funny,
Probably.
And how they had the OJ footage.
The actual OJ footage spliced into it.
Oh my gosh!
Funny story is if you listen to Dustin Runnels, Dustin Rhodes, call him whatever you like, Gold Us G-Man. If you listen to the story of couples, he really wanted to have color in that match. It was during a time period where color was not permitted by Vince McMahon. So he asked Roddy Piper, "Hey Roddy, you a man, a legend, an icon, the guy who knows all the trick in the business. Can you hard way me? Can you do it hard way during the match so we have that nice little added touch to the match and added realism?" He's like, "Okay." And you can hear, to this day, it's still ringing. You can hear a huge pop when Piper hits him knuckles first on the forehead,
Yeah.
almost knocking Dustin Runnels legitimately. It was just a great moment in the ring when he kissed him and he kissed him back. The whole thing, the whole story, you can listen to the Roddy Piper's Pit podcast a couple of weeks ago. He talked about the whole situation. It's just a great moment in wrestling history, in my opinion.
It was a fun match, and it's funny that Vince McMahon wouldn't allow color, but he'd allow a man wearing female lingerie.
Yeah,
Go figure.
priorities.
Yeah, I guess so. Wrestling, people. Entertainment.
Before we move on to WrestleMania 13, a lot of things happened with Bret Hart after this pay-per-view. No, it was a couple years before the Montreal Screwjob, almost a year and a half.
Year and a half, yeah.
But he took a summer hiatus, went to try to be an actor with a very bad Western TV series.
Lonesome Dove?
Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah.
He was not a good actor.
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
But a lot of things. There was news and rumbling in the Wrestling Observer has he was going to retire, even though retirement was going to be a big word for a Hart, but he was going to go on a hiatus, and he didn't know what the future had in store. And even if you, to this day, if you go watch some behind the scenes of that Lone Star Dove TV show,
Yeah.
he does talk about it, how, I don't know if a wrestling is a thing for me, I'm really liking that acting thing. If he only knew.
If he only knew. He would be back to wrestling, and maybe he should have stuck to acting. Maybe he would have had a much easier life.
In The Condemned.
Yeah, in The Condemned. Yeah, it's funny, Kevin, because you brought up the fact that he went away, and they actually played up to the fact that Bret Hart was retiring. And even like Owen, I'm like, I would hear stories about Owen calling Bret saying, "Hey, people here think that you're actually not coming back." And Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, they weren't best of friends, but they were still getting along at this point. And there's a famous scene at the end where you see when Shawn Michaels wins the match, it's either he says something Bret Hart said, or it was on the Rivals DVD that he said something along the lines of "Get the fuck out of my ring," or
He looks.
yeah,
No, it's Shawn Michaels looks at Earl Hebner and he says, "Go tell that piece of shit to get out of my ring. This is my ring." But people have to realize, after the years, they said it was all work between the two.
yeah, it was all work. But it's one of those things that turned into a shoot, like because the whole thing was sunny, which again,
Sunny days.
sunny day. Even though you've got sunny days,
I wish I had sunny days back then, though. Not now.
I think we've all. Oh fuck! I want sunny days now. Are you kidding
No,
me?
you
I'll
don't.
take-
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Kevin, you trust me. I will take sunny days nowadays. Just not cloudy days.
Just hang up Skype with her once in a while.
Yeah, I wonder. Did
have
we
to
ever
pay,
figure how
though.
much that cost?
No, but she keeps saying it's a long time ago, though. She's moved on, apparently.
Oh, good for her.
All right. On that note, I think that tops the show.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think we can top anything else.
Now, talk to you in WrestleMania 13 with Austin and Brett.